what does prayer look like when you're weary? Understanding what these moms and these dads and other children in the home are experiencing as a result of saying yes to this calling. What does God honoring prayer look like when you're so weary that you don't feel like you can take another step?
One thing that comes to mind is obviously your earnestness, the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous individual availeth much. This is one of my favorite scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
So the earnestness with which I went to the Lord, the desperation that I felt, I had to clear my will out. That's the,
That's
one of
good.
the biggest challenges was to actually get myself in a place where I could actually hear the real answer. And it wasn't just me trying to get what I wanted, even if
Yeah.
that was a good thing. And that you can ask for help in doing that. And I think at first I wasn't even sure what I needed to do, that I even needed to do that work. There's this, have you ever seen the movie Shadowlands?
No.
Oh, okay. Watch the movie.
I have
It's the
to-dos,
true
guys.
story.
Books and movies. Okay, I like this.
So C.S. Lewis, it's the true story of his marriage with his wife, Joy Gresham,
Okay.
and her getting cancer and her death and the transformation it was for him. I don't know if you've ever read A Grief Observed. That's his journal after her death. Anyway, there's this beautiful line where he realizes he's in love with her and she's dying of cancer. And he interacts with the fellow professor at the university. And no. It's a priest, I think, that's a friend. And C.S. Lewis says something about, just praying his heart out. And this priest said something like, yes, that will make so much difference. And I can't remember the language, but what C.S. Lewis says is, I pray because the need flows out of me all the time. I don't pray because it changes God. I pray because it changes me.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's how I felt. And it reminds me a lot of, I had this experience. My husband had a similar experience, and I know a few other people that I've talked with, and I can't say that this is some kind of prayer principle or something, but it's like, maybe it's a pattern. I don't know. So when my husband had this pornography addiction from the time he was like 5 years old. So I don't know what went on at the house. He doesn't remember a time when it wasn't a challenge. And so we knew it was a problem entering our marriage. Things got worse before they got better. We had a lot of years of trudging through that, and there's a lot of stories around that. But finally, at one point, it was milder. It was kind of better. He was wondering what to do. And finally he was like, okay, I've got it. I'm a grown man. I have children. This is ridiculous. I can't keep doing this. And so we started tracking it, and he realized, oh my goodness, I still act out regularly. I need to stop this. And so he started praying, sometimes up to half an hour a day. And for 3 months, he prayed some of the most earnest prayers he's ever prayed. He said he would quote scripture to God. And he would remind him of all the promises. And he would beg and plead and be like, take this, like, show me what to do. Like, give me the path forward. And in my case, it was about 3 months. And in his case, it was about 3 months. And I don't know. And then with other people I know, it's been about 3 months of showing up. It reminds me of the unjust judge, when Jesus tells about the widow with the unjust judge. And even an unjust judge will give you what you want if you just hound him enough. And so there is something, I think, about showing up every day and proving that you mean it, proving that you're in earnest, and that you really, and something about that process gets your heart in a better place, helps you be better able to hear and act. And then the way was made. It was an absolute miracle. I was asked to do a conference in Arizona. They flew me out, and the woman started talking to me about her husband and his pornography addiction and how he'd gotten sober and blah, blah, blah. And I'd never told a soul. And I felt like I called like I needed to tell her. Anyway, she handed me the AA book. I brought it home and there we were. And he knew how to move forward in the steps. God was already leading him through those steps. He'd already started making an inventory of his life. That's a whole other story. But there are just these times we go along in our lives and we receive little answers, we receive little miracles. Like, obviously we want to use the gift of prayer daily, but then there are these times of crisis. And
Yeah.
like you said, it is I don't know how to be that earnest every day. I wish I did. Maybe some of these great men and women I study are. I have, good intentions and I try hard,
Right.
but moments of crisis bring out something different, I think. Anyway, that was a long answer, but those are my
I
thoughts
loved
about
it.
that.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's so important. It's so real, and we need that, because I think we can easily get trapped in this idea, well, I obeyed God. This should be rosy from here on out. And
Yeah.
oftentimes what we find is when we walk in obedience to the Lord, there are things that refine us to our knees and beyond. But
That's
that
what John 15 is about.
Yes,
That's right there.
exactly.
That's,
That pruning process to grow more fruit, and
yes.
it's uncomfortable
Yes.
and we don't like it, so we shy away from it and we
Yes.
question when we're clearly hearing God, and we walk through these moments where our bodies and our minds and our hearts and our spirits are so weary and they're so exhausted, and we're grasping
Yes.
onto, we know in our minds, cling to scripture. We cling to God's truth, cling to his
Yeah.
promises and all these different things, but those can feel really shallow when we are in the depths of that weariness as a result of our obedience. And so that's why I'm like, we've got to have these real conversations so that people feel seen. And listeners, I hope you feel
Yeah.
seen today, just through what Audrey has shared, through the way that we're just kind of discussing this and framing this. But on the other side of it, there is relationship, the value of relationship with God, that there's no words to
Yeah.
truly give voice to that except to say, I understand, I get it, I've been there. That shared experience where when we know we've walked through this calling together, we can just look at one another and go, I see you, I know what you've been through. And I
Yeah.
see how this has drawn you closer to the Lord. And the testimony that is being built out of that is of greater
Yes.
value than anything that we can
Yes.
possibly imagine for our lives. I think that's so impactful. And Audrey, I'm so grateful just for your vulnerability and willingness to share all of this. And listeners, please hear me today. There is hope. If you find yourself in that weary spot, there is hope. And you mentioned like little miracles, little moments, little words from God, little
Yeah.
moments forward, progress, hearing from Him, getting direction. Like there is hope to be found in knowing that He is holding you even when it doesn't feel like it.